Wow. Canelo Alvarez could fight Billy Joe Saunders and Avni Yildrim as his next two opponents. And we gonna talk about this. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Mike Coppinger of The Athletic, it says sources, Eddie Hearn and Eddy Reynoso discussing a 2-fight deal for Canelo Alvarez to compete on DAZN in February and May against Avni Yildrim and Billy Joe Saunders, respectively. If a deal is reached, first bout could take place February 27th in Canelo's hometown of Guadalajara, Mexico. Now, I got a video coming talking about the Avni Yildrim conundrum. So, boxing scene, they're saying that this could be the next fight. This is bad form for Canelo Alvarez, right? Somebody tagged me and it says Ego Stradamus. Absolutely. Who predicted this? Shout out to my man Andre. Who predicted this? Ego Stradamus. Now, Canelo's instantly making me regret putting him on the pound for pound list. I'm trying to give the man credit for his last performance and also for his skill set. But Billy Joe Saunders just fought a domestic level guy and he just retired Martin Murray after the fight. Martin Murray, if you know your boxing, fought Gabe Rosado, and no shade to him, but Gabe Rosado really beat him. And Gabe Rosado, came up short in some of his bigger fights. But Martin Murray hasn't been relevant in a minute. Billy Joe Saunders, just like Canelo, failed a drug test. And this is what we're doing. I hope Canelo doesn't do this. I mean, it don't matter to me. At the end of the day, if this is what is decided for Canelo as a free agent, these are the same type of moves that he was making when he was with Golden Boy. So there are a lot of people that believed that Canelo Alvarez was being somehow held back by Golden Boy. But if Canelo's next two fights are a fight in Mexico with Avni Yildrim, and then he fights Billy Joe Saunders, then we know what time it is, and this is Canelo's doing. Canelo, he looks superb. No knock on his performance over Callum Smith, but this was to be expected. How many times have I said on the channel that Canelo Alvarez continues to go after the path, in my opinion, of least resistance? And if you disagree, then if he goes this path, and I'm not going to jump to conclusion, I'm just going off of what is being reported. If he does fight against Avni Yildrim and Billy Joe Saunders, instead of the fighters that I keep mentioning, like black African-American fighters, Jamal Charlo and Demetrius Andrade, other great fighters like Mexican-American fighter David Benavidez, right? Zurdo Ramirez from Mexico. Why not fight Zurdo Ramirez in Mexico? Why fight Avni Yildrim? Why not fight a Mexican-American who's Spanish-speaking like David Benavidez? David Benavidez recently said in an interview that Canelo, the whole time he was the WBC champion, he didn't have his name in his mouth. He's saying Canelo never really mentioned his name. And as soon as he lost his belt on the scale, you see Canelo, the Vulture, go after that WBC belt, which he now has. So to me, this is just going to be a bad look for Canelo if this is his next two fight. I mean, you're fighting a guy from Turkey and then fighting a Billy Joe Saunders when there's other available competition. Like, he was rumored to fight Caleb Plant, and I really thought that there was a chance that the fight could happen. And then it didn't happen. And as a result, people were disappointed. And people even said to me, they say, Ego, you really thought that Caleb Plant was going to happen. It was a clout chase. He doesn't really want to fight Caleb Plant. So if he now fights Avni Yildrim and then fights Billy Joe Saunders, it's hard to argue against that. And it's going to look really bad because he's no longer under the reign of Golden Boy. So if the moves are looking identical, then what does that tell you? That this is Canelo and his team, and this is what they choose. So I'm not going to jump to conclusion. I'm going to wait for Canelo to actually announce what his next plan is. But mark my words in this video, Canelo's star power is going to continue to dwindle and fade because there's too much greatness in boxing and up-and-comers to watch. You know, he could get eclipsed by the Ryan Garcias and Jerron Boots Ennis, not saying in terms of mass popularity, but anticipation for their fights as they step up in the ranks could grow greater and greater. Guys like Errol Spence that are doing it right. You know, Canelo, people are on to the gamesmanship and the strategies and rehydration clauses. I told you before, right after he beat Caleb Smith, I gave Canelo full props. He looked good. You know, I gave him credit for it because Caleb Smith, at best, he was a big dude and is a champion. He was a top 3 guy. Even though I had David Benavidez and Caleb Plant, you know, being better, I thought from the eye test and everything I know, I still thought Caleb Plant and David Benavidez were better super middleweights. Canelo's team came out and said, hey, Callum Smith is the best, which is what they did to 175. Nobody believes it anymore. 175, at the point they fought Kovalev, they said Kovalev was the best guy at the division. And you got a guy who's a killer like Artur Beterbiev. Nobody believes that Kovalev at that point, after Ward beat him twice, stopped him in the second fight. Alida Alvarez also stopped him. And then he came back and avenged that. Almost got stopped by Anthony Yard, who really believes that Kovalev at that given moment on a quick turnaround, most likely with the rehydration clause, was better. You know, so Canelo's team, they keep playing the same move and it's real played out. You know, just say that Caleb Smith is the best, Kovalev is the best, and that's what we're taking on. But meanwhile, the whole world believes Caleb Plant, you know, majority of boxing fans who really F with the sport, they think that David Benavidez is a monster. You know, people are checking out Edgar Berlanga, and I know he's a little bit newer in his career, but people are looking at him as a real threat in the future, right? You got fights like Caleb Plant. You got even a Chris Eubank who called out Canelo. That seems to be a very good fight. Chris Eubank, unlike some of the other British fighters, he navigated out this way to America and came out west and teamed up with Roy Jones and spent a lot of time in the Mayweather gym. So that would be a great fight. Zordo Ramirez, Canelo's own countryman. That would be a great fight. So if Canelo keeps playing this game and fighting guys like Billy Joe Saunders and Avni Yildrim, then, you know, I think you're going to see, especially even on DAZN, like, bro, DAZN's promotion behind it, him being trapped on an app, I get it. It just looks like Canelo's going after the money. You know, Avni Yildrim, I don't really see the interest there. You know, you can sell some tickets if it happens in Mexico, because that's a once in a potential lifetime opportunity. You haven't been able to see Canelo since he's been Canelo fight at home in Mexico. But where are you going to do the Billy Joe Saunders fight? You know, Canelo keeps doing, it's like he's almost on an exhibition tour. That's what it looks like. It's no different. Like Floyd is 44 years old fighting Logan Paul and Takashi, or whatever the dude's name is, Tenshin Nasukawa and Conor McGregor. He did that after his career in boxing was pretty much over. Now he's doing these money-making fights. Canelo's trying to do that when he's 30 years old and, you know, late 20s and active. Now, I do think Canelo is a skilled fighter, so that's why I want to see Canelo fight somebody who I also believe to be skilled. And people get mad at what I say, but they can dislike, but they can't disprove. Canelo got skills, that much is certain. But fight someone else that we also feel has skills at that given moment and has looked good in their last 2-3 fights. That's not the case. Avni Yildrim's coming off a loss. Callum Smith, really, if you know boxing, is coming off a loss because he definitely didn't beat John Ryder, right? Billy Joe Saunders is coming off a win at domestic level against nobody special, Martin Murray, who Golovkin, you know, decapitated years ago. And he hasn't really been relevant since, and he's since lost to Rosado. That win doesn't really mean much, right? Billy Joe Saunders, and it's funny because you see the Canelo Man fans, when a black fighter primarily is linked to fight Canelo, they say, what is that black fighter like Demetrius Andrade or Jamal Charlo? What have they done to earn Canelo? But those same fans rarely say that when it comes to Amir Khan getting a Canelo shot, Rocky Fielding, James Kirkland, right? How is he able to fight James Kirkland from a Texan who was on a long layoff, didn't have Ann Wolfe, and had a war with Glenn Tapia, but you won't go to war with Jamal Charlo, also from Texas, and he's calling you out and says he wants to fight, right? David Benavidez, you could say, Canelo's team could say whatever they want. You're not going to convince me that David Benavidez is not a problem. He throws 7, 8, 9 punch combinations. He's a good fighter. If Canelo can beat him, that's fine. I'm saying, show me. Like I always say, LSI, let's see it. You know, you can't tell me that Caleb's sweet hands ain't nice and don't got hands and a good rhythmic style and stuff. Like, imagine that. 2 guys thinking like sweet hands Caleb Plant and Canelo. That would be, on paper, an awesome fight because it'll be a battle of wits, a high-speed chess match. David Benavidez, Canelo's also an aggressive counterpuncher, and David Benavidez has phenomenal punch variation and punch selection, just like Canelo, right? But Benavidez, I don't think his defense is as tight as Canelo, but he's also more aggressive, so that fight seems combustible. And again, we'll wait to see what Canelo decides, but the way it's looking, he may go back to DAZN instead of going to PBC and fighting the likes of Jamal Charlo, David Benavidez, Chris Eubank, and good luck. You know, well, good luck with Canelo Yildrim and Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders, he's not really even a likable person. He's telling people to abuse their partners in the pandemic and these weird pranks and failing drug tests, and he ducked Demetrius Andrade. You know, it's not a big fight. So DAZN, if they love it and they want to do a 2-fight deal and, you know, go bankrupt off Canelo still, even after the separation, enjoy. But you will see Canelo, his numbers continue to dwindle. Like, for example, Canelo versus Callum Smith, Errol Spence, in terms of announced attendance, outsold Canelo in Texas. They said when Errol Spence fought a Mexican-American fighter, Mikey Garcia, in Texas, they said they were all Mikey fans. But Errol keeps bringing out a crowd. He just did, in a pandemic, 16,000 plus. Canelo's fight did 10,000 with Callum Smith. It shows you people aren't really checking for these matchups that Canelo's doing. The advertising, the promotion, the branding is not the same. People are losing interest. So, you know, it's good for Canelo and his family. They getting easy work, and he's getting a hefty, lofty paycheck. But for his legacy in boxing, this doesn't really help him. It doesn't really help him to take these types of fights. And you'll see his numbers continue to dwindle down. So, you know, it's up to him. And other people like Errol Spence, who are getting in car accidents, getting recalibrated, remotivated, they're going to continue to do well in boxing because they're doing right by the boxing fans. Errol Spence, man down. Hey, stop that cat. He's not derived from what he came in the game telling us to this point. He said he wanted to fight the best. He's even calling out Canelo. You know, he's saying he wants to fight the best, and he has not went away from that. Canelo, if he keeps fighting European fighters, British fighters, as if that's the only talent pool of fighters out there, then that goes to show you he's avoiding certain styles. But we'll see what's decided. Igor Stradamus looks like he's about to strike again, and I know it makes y'all mad, but there's nothing you could do about it. We'll see what Canelo decides to do. You know, you could fool the people once, but you're not going to keep fooling the people in terms of making us believe that Billy Joe Saunders failed a drug test, and David Benavidez failed a drug test, but Billy Joe failed it with an actual PED. Benavidez failed it with cocaine. So how do you justify making a fight with Billy Joe Saunders? How come you have a fighter from Guadalajara, Mexico, and Canelo Alvarez, and he's supposed to be the champion, Grand Campeon, but give back to the fans by fighting somebody that they want to see you fight? Why fight on the quote unquote Mexican days like Cinco de Mayo and Independence Day weekend, and there's a Spanish speaking guy right in front of you who's dangerous, who's a threat, and is a problem, and you want to fight Billy Joe Saunders, who has very limited, no punching power. His power at 160 wasn't the greatest, so imagine at 168. And we just watched you destroy Callum Smith, who had power and is bigger than Billy Joe Saunders. You know what I mean? What is the allure of a Billy Joe Saunders and Avni Yildrim fight? Let me know that in the comment section. But it looks like if Canelo continues to make these decisions, time is about up. You know, I really see a major dip. Like I said, Canelo, Callum Smith, where are the numbers at? Did DAZN ever let us know where it was tracking? Did he do 1 million views? They're not saying nothing, and that sometimes no response is a response. Use my link, get ESPN Plus. They have a ton of original content. It's $5.99 a month, or get the bundle ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps for one low price of $12.99. And Disney Plus just announced a monster schedule. They got Loki series coming. They got one with War Machine and Bucky. They got the Mandalorian season back. Holla at that link. It does help the channel. I'm an independent creator. Helps us continue to build and grow, get new equipment, and, you know, maintenance on the channel and stuff, so I can do more and be better. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of Canelo. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more sports. Get unlimited access to premium content with an ESPN Plus subscription. ESPN Plus offers a variety of content, including specials, behind the scenes, docuseries like Bruce Lee's Be Water, and much more. With an ESPN Plus subscription, you get access to a ton of classic archive fights and replays from boxing and the UFC. Big names like, "Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Come and watch my fight." Floyd Mayweather, "Easy work. I'm rich." And Manny Pacquiao, "Yes, it's up to my promoter. Just to name a few. If that's not enough, you could get the ESPN bundle, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All 3 apps, one low price. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you guys click that link in the description box of all of my videos. Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.